The Indiana Hoosiers are still alive in the Big Ten Tournament.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome in. It is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins, and I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. New customers join today, and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. Well, you would have won $200 if you put $5 on the Indiana Hoosiers to beat the Penn State Nittany Lions in their first game of the Big Ten Tournament. 61-59 the final score, and we are still alive, baby. That's right. Indiana wins in a thriller in Minneapolis in the nightcap tonight. We're going to recap all of that for you, likes and dislikes, plus looking ahead to tomorrow's matchup with Nebraska. That's right. We'll talk about all that here on Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. If you are a part, if you're on the YouTube video, like it, subscribe to the channel. It's free. It's easy. Let you know when we go live. Let you know when we post a new episode every single day. And if you're on the audio platform as well, you can subscribe there. Turn on notifications, and thank you so much for doing that as well. Indiana defeats Penn State in a barn burner. It wasn't a high-scoring game. It wasn't the most sexy game in the world, but we won a grinded-out victory. And, man, oh, it feels so good to grind it out, get the win, a gritty win, a game where we should have won by a lot more. Let's just be honest. I predicted us to win by double digits, but we just didn't do that. But we won the game 61-59 in the Big Ten Tournament. We're still alive. How about Anthony Leal? Yes, how about Anthony Leal, the man who saved the season with a putback on the right side of the basket with about 6 seconds to go. He, the senior, one of those many who stepped up tonight in a big way, got the game-winning putback basket there at the end. Hoosiers win 61-59. You start looking at some of the box score here. Points-wise, Kel'el Ware, he did it again. A walking double-double, 18 points, had 14 rebounds as well in 36 minutes played. Also, you had Malik Reneau with 12. He was in foul trouble again. Shocker. You had Mackenzie Mgbako with 11. He shot a lot, and he missed a lot. Shocker. But you got good points out of them. You got production out of them. Anthony Leal, the hero of the game tonight, had 8 points off the bench for you. Gabe Cupps had 6. Both of those were from downtown. Some big-time shots from Gabe Cupps tonight. Xavier Johnson had 4, and Anthony Walker had 2. And one of the biggest storylines of this game, we thought this might be the case, but we didn't know 100%. Trey Galloway didn't play. Trey Galloway did not play in this game, the player that may have been playing his best basketball right now for this Indiana team. And he did not suit up with that lower body, lower leg injury. We'll see what that looks like and if he is available for any other games in the Big Ten Tournament. But, man, this feels so good. And it was win or go home. And it still is for this Indiana team. But it's nice to get that win over Penn State. Get them back just a hair, not get swept completely this season. You did in the regular season, but you get them back here in the Big Ten Tournament, the one that ultimately matters right now. And we get the win 61-59. Kel'el Ware is your go-to guy. I've been telling you all year long. Mike Woodson finally figured it out. Like, hey, maybe we should give this guy the basketball. Yeah, he's pretty darn good when he gets it in there, is he not? 18 points, 7 of 14 from the floor. Missed his only three-pointer. How about Indiana shooting free throws? I want to jump to this. 14 of 18 from the free throw line for, don't worry, they told you this numerous times, the worst free throw shooting team in the Big Ten. But he also had 14 massive rebounds. He is your glue. He is your guy. If he does not play well, we do not win basketball games. It's plain and simple. He had a good game and was a big reason that we won. Malik Reneau had 12. Mackenzie and Mgbako had 11. Neither one of them shot the ball well. Neither one of them really played all that well, to be honest with you. And both of them were in foul trouble late. And it wasn't even late. It was somewhat early in the second half, around that midway point, back end of that last 10 minutes, where it's like, oh my God, we're going to have these guys foul out and we're going to be screwed because we don't have anybody else on the bench. Thankfully, they did stay in. Penn State, on the other hand, they had some guys foul out. Kern and Wahab, who really struggled tonight. 4 total points for him, 0 of 8 from the floor, made 4 of 5 from the free throw line, but just did not get it going. And credit to this Indiana defense. We're going to get to this in likes and dislikes, I promise. But Indiana's defense to start the game, respond out of the half, and to end the game is what won us the game. And I told you that this morning on today's episode that went out this morning. That's what this team is built on. When they play good defense, they win basketball games because they can't outscore a whole lot of people with just their offensive ability. We scored 61 points in a tournament game. That's not something to grin about. That's not something to be excited about, but you held your opponent to 59. That is exciting. That's really, really good. And this team, I was starting to worry about it. They're coming down the stretch where Penn State started knocking down some shots. They were going after some hustle plays, some bang-bang calls that were terrible on both sides. I don't think either team benefited more than the other when it came to some horrible calls where it was clear one guy had ball, the other guy hit the arm. It was out on this guy, out on that guy, and just, whatever. It is what it is. But I was starting to worry, does this team have that killer mentality? Do we have the ability to go out and beat somebody that we're supposed to beat? And guess what? Penn State was the favorite in this game. And we came out and got what was apparently an upset, not in seeding, but in Las Vegas. And the Hoosiers have got some people crying out in the Sin City tonight. 61-59, your final score. Indiana moves on to the next day in the Big Ten Tournament. We'll be taking on Nebraska. We'll have some preview for that coming up later on in the show. Just a heck of a win, man. Season's still alive. You did it without one of your better players in Trey Galloway. You heard what Mike Woodson had to say in postgame. He was emotional, man. He was really emotional and said, this was not a pretty game by any means. And yeah, you're right, coach. It was about as ugly as it gets from an offensive standpoint. And the Hoosiers got dominated in the second half. But overall, well, I guess not dominated. It felt that way. You didn't get dominated, but it did feel that way. And overall, you fight it out. Anthony Leal is the man. He was there. Such a good heads-up play from the senior where if you don't have him play well tonight, you don't win this game. Your season is done. And the senior, who's coming back for another year, stepped up and wins it for the Indiana Hoosiers, 61-59. Likes and dislikes coming up next here on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30. Get started at Robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as of Q1 2024, validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial LLC, members SIPC, is a registered broker-dealer. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is also brought to you by Amazon Fire TV. Look, I've told you guys about my big 65-inch flat screen Amazon Fire TV. That's what I watched the Indiana Hoosiers beat Penn State on tonight. It was fantastic. Fire TV is your destination for sports, live games, and highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV stick that I have in my bedroom on that TV that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or the college basketball tournament like right now, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes us at Locked On and Locked On Hoosiers, so you can check that out if you've got a Fire TV. Fire TV channels let you dive into all the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date on all the latest in the world of sports, March Madness, NBA, MLB, and so much more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos as well. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out a Fire TV channel, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, visit www.amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. Welcome back in, Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here. Hit the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. We continue to grow, pushing towards 1,900 subscribers and then 2,000. Yes, we are growing like crazy over here at Locked On Hoosiers, and you are the reason because of it. Indiana defeats Penn State 61-59 in the first game, second round of the Big Ten Tournament. They move on to Friday, the quarterfinals of the Big Ten Tournament after taking down Penn State 61-59. We do it after every game. Likes and dislikes from this performance tonight, and we always start to go through the team comparison stats. Look, we're a team, Indiana, that shoots almost 50% in a game because we go down low every single time. Kel'el Ware had some nasty moves tonight. Nasty finishes, turnaround in between two defenders, just a little finger roll. The touch is beautiful. That's going to be so pretty at the next level whenever he goes. But we only shot 39% tonight. That's low for us on the season. So not a fan of that. But you love to see Penn State only shoot 28%. Any of the opponent that you play shooting 28%. Man, that first half, they could not take the lid off of it. They could not pay enough money for a bucket in that first half. And I think we all started to worry just a little bit because they couldn't score. They couldn't shoot. They couldn't hit layups. They couldn't move the basketball. They couldn't do anything. And we could not really extend our lead, expand on it by any. I mean, we got up by 7 or 8, but just couldn't put the dagger in them early. And we don't run that type of offense to do that. That's the problem. We don't shoot threes very well, normally. We don't force a bunch of turnovers, and we don't get out and run in transition. Those are all things that help you grow your lead, and we just don't do that a whole lot. So, yeah, that was concerning, the fact that they couldn't score, and we just really couldn't do anything about it. We just kind of watched them do it there in that first half. We shot 3 of 12 from downtown, but, man, all 3 of them were big. They shot 7 of 27 from downtown. They shot 27 threes in this game, and they made 7 of them, but so many lost possessions for the Nittany Lions, and hey, we're cool with that, right? Free throw shooting, basically even a 5% difference. They did make 6 more than we did, but shoot, us going 14 of 18 from the line, I'll take that all day, every day. Turnovers really wasn't all that bad. 10 for Penn State, 12 for us. I like that. That's fine. That's winning basketball. Both teams scored 11 points off of those turnovers, and here's the thing. I said we had to do this, and we should always do this against Penn State. That particular Penn State team, we won the rebounding battle. Not by much. Only won it by 2, but we won the rebounding battle. Had more second chance points. That's a difference maker in this game. We outscored them by 4 in second chance points, and guess what? We won by 2. Tell me that's not a difference maker right there. Assists, 13 assists on 22 made buckets for Indiana. Love it. That's fantastic. That's exactly what we need to do. And overall, we didn't play our best brand of basketball, but neither did they. I loved our defensive effort, our defensive presence. Kel'el Ware was a menace down low, more than he usually is. And he really didn't even have all that crazy of defensive highlights or anything like that. He's just his presence down there is just so daunting, right? He had 3 blocks, a couple of big-time blocks, and a couple of steals as well. But you'd think he'd have so much more given how teams react to him just standing in the lane. And Indiana took advantage of it. Penn State didn't know what to do. And when you can't shoot the basketball and you can't score on the inside, yeah, you're going to struggle to win basketball games. So that's the type of defensive effort we have to have moving forward if we want to continue winning games in the Big Ten tournament. And to be able to overcome not having Trey Galloway. Hate that he didn't play. I hope it's short term. I don't feel good about it. I'm not hearing great things, but we'll see what happens here. But this team fought and overcame it. Xavier Johnson, while his stats aren't going to blow you off the page, he had a few turnovers tonight. How about 6 rebounds and 5 assists for the senior point guard? The 6th-year senior point guard only had 4 points, but shoot, 6 rebounds and 5 assists? You bet. I'll take that anytime he steps on the floor. And then the story of the game. It's Anthony Leal. 8 points off the bench. 2 big-time buckets. One of them was a 3. The other was the game-winning basket. The only 2 shots he made were a massive 3 and the game-winning shot. Also had 3 or 4 at the free throw line. Had a few rebounds. Didn't turn the ball over. And 24 big minutes for this Indiana team. You gotta love it for Mr. Indiana basketball, the hometown kid, getting his chance, getting his shot, and being in the right place, right time, and taking advantage of it. Look, that's not an easy play. He had to read the miss, come up with it in the middle of the air, and throw it back off the backboard and get it in. He made it look easy. Look, I enjoy playing basketball. I can't do that. I'm not good enough for that. But he knocked it in, and Indiana got the win. Now, I will say this. While I do love the defensive effort, they kept saying it on the broadcast, the Hoosiers cannot get in foul trouble anymore. They were giving Penn State free points on a night that they couldn't shoot from the floor. They were 28% from the floor. They made 20 of their free throws. They shot 24 of them and made 20. We gave away 6 extra points to them at the charity stripe. And it almost came back to bite us. You better believe I would have been on this show saying, you cannot do that. You cannot foul all the time down the stretch and let a pretty good free throw shooting team in Penn State beat you at the line. Thankfully, we won the game. It's still an issue. It's still a problem, especially when you start looking ahead to Nebraska as well. But overall, man, there's not a whole lot of complaining you can do. A win is a win. That's 5 in a row for this team. They're playing their best basketball tonight. May not have been a display of that, but you get another win, 61-59 over the Penn State Nittany Lions. We're still alive. We're still alive. That's all we can ask for, right? You get the win. It wasn't pretty. And Mike Woodson said it after the game. Go home, watch some film, get some sleep, and prepare for the Cornhuskers tomorrow. Hoosiers will play the late game again tomorrow night. And if you're watching this on Friday, it'll be the late game tonight. It'll be the last game there in Minneapolis once again. But big-time win. Overcame adversity, overcame injuries, overcame bad shooting performances, and you get it done. 61-59. You finally beat Penn State, who has had our number all year long for whatever reason. Moving on to play Nebraska in the next round of the Big Ten tournament. We will preview that in the next segment coming up on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Nissan. This week's March Madness bracket highlight is brought to you by our friends at Nissan. Each week, we're picking one team that stands out, a team that's pushed it further than the rest. Just like any of the all-new 2024 Nissan SUVs, these guys were able to take it to the next level. The Tennessee Vols can only be described as a Pathfinder. They've been thrilling to watch and have really created a lane for themselves after claiming the top spot in the SEC, and that Dalton Knecht kid, yeah, he can play. Player of the Year candidate Dalton Knecht has carried the Vols all the season and made them a team to watch for in March. I think they're good enough for a 1 seed. I don't know if they'll get it, but they're good enough to be a 1 seed, I'll tell you that. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Final segment here on Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here, making this your go-to spot. First listen each and every day. Thanks so much for putting us into your daily rotation. We appreciate you being here. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, whether you're on video or audio. I appreciate you, and that way you never miss episodes each and every day. Indiana defeats Penn State 61-59. Season still alive, and now we prepare for Nebraska, a team we've seen this year, a team that has given us fits all season long. that Tominaga, man, he can play. He can absolutely play. And as Nebraska earned that double bye, now they have a chance to sit back. They've had a chance to sit back and watch the first couple of days. And now they take on Indiana, a place where they came to our house and beat us 85-70. And then when we went to Nebraska, they beat us 86-70. And I mentioned this on the show on our last episode, I believe, but you see the trend there. Not only did we score 70 points, we gave up high 80s, mid to high 80s on the offensive end on our defense. We cannot do that. As I've already said here today, we're not good enough to outscore people. We're not going to go up and down the floor, shot for shot, punch for punch, kick for kick, right? We cannot do that. We have to play good defense, good, solid defense, excellent defense to beat a team like Nebraska, who, man, just quietly 22-9 overall this season. And coming into this Big Ten tournament, they have won, let's see, that is 6 out of their last 7. The only loss they had was on the road at Ohio State, which we all know that's been one of the hottest teams in this conference since they decided to fire their head coach, Chris Holtmann, who got hired at DePaul today. Interesting. But that's a good Nebraska team, man, with a win over Indiana in there, a win over that Penn State team, and a win over Minnesota and Rutgers and Michigan again. So has the schedule down the stretch been overly difficult for Nebraska? No, I wouldn't say so. But we have no room to talk. They've had our number all season long, and you start looking at them, what they finished the year looking like. Yeah, they've got some dudes that can score. Tominaga only averaging 15 points. It seems like more. He drops about 100 every time he plays the Hoosiers. You've got Mast with 13, Williams with 12, and Gary with 12. We'll see what combination of players they've had. They've had some injury issues all season long, but as a team, they average 77 points a game. Pushing 80 every night is really, really tough, especially for a team like us that we just can't hang with that. So how do we win? How do we overcome it? How do we get prepared for this Nebraska team? Well, it's game 2 of the tournament for us, 2 games in 2 days. Fatigue should not be a factor here. I'm just being honest with you. Fatigue should not be an issue in this scenario. It's just 2 games in 2 days. Nothing you haven't done in AAU ball, nothing you haven't done in EYBL or any of those other crazy tournaments that these guys played in before they got here. The second game in 2 days should not worry you, should not be an issue, especially when you played the late game in this one and you'll play the late game in the next one. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. If I do, I'm going to be really upset. You've got to find a way to slow down this Nebraska offense. They're going to give you opportunities, and they did when we played them both times. We just didn't have our best stuff. We didn't play our best game. We didn't have everybody there. It just wasn't the whole package that we needed to beat a team like Nebraska. I refuse to believe that they are just this superpower, great team that's going to make a run in this tournament or in any other tournament. I don't see it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just biased. I don't know. I just don't feel like they're all that. And look at when they've played teams of I don't know, relevance, maybe. Is that the best word to use? When they've played teams that are legit. They beat that Purdue team, which hats off to you, 88-72. That's a big-time win. They beat that Wisconsin team in overtime, lost to that Illinois team in overtime. So maybe they are, right? Maybe we have to give credit where it's due. I don't know. I just think we should be able to hang and beat this Nebraska team. They've got some height down there, but they don't have a 7-footer like we do. They've got a couple 6'10", 6'11" guys, but a lot of them don't even play. We should have a chance here. Now, defense is going to be crucial again. Rebounding is going to be crucial again. And this is March. You're going to have to make some shots, and you may have to get a little madness and a little crazy and a little luck to make this thing happen and get to the weekend against Nebraska. And look, if we're not 100% healthy, which I'll be honest, I don't expect us to be, I think Trey Galloway's probably done for a while. And this could be it. It's do or die yet again. It's win or go home. Season is over if you don't pull out the W once again. Play with that fire. Play with that urgency. We had it down the stretch in the last couple of minutes. I felt like we lost it a few there against Penn State, but we got it back. You got nothing to lose. Come in and play with your hair on fire. Why not? You have nothing to lose. You got everything to play for, though. You have a tournament bid on the line if you continue to win your basketball games. I saw some people say that we could play our way into the tournament with a couple of wins. I don't think so. I think we'd have to win the whole thing. I really do. I think we'd have to get the automatic qualifying bid. We're not gonna go up high enough in the net rankings or anything like that to find our way in the NCAA tournament. And I'm pulling up the net rankings right now before we wrap this up. This is as of the 13th. So this does not include the Penn State game for us, but that's not going to move the needle any for this Indiana squad. We've been hovering around that 90 to 100 spot pretty much all year long. And as of right now, we are 96 in the net with a 4-8 quad 1 record, 5-4 in quad 2, and a quad 3 loss. That's not good, folks. That's not great. We got to win it all if we want to make it to the NCAA tournament. But hey, one game at a time. We beat Penn State 61-59. Season's still alive, and we've got Nebraska coming up on Friday. It's going to be tough, folks. It's going to be really tough. I'll pick us just to say I did. I think we can. I think we could do it, but it's going to be really tough. Slow down Tominaga, knock down some shots, and maybe a little luck on our side as well. We'll talk about it regardless. A reaction episode following the Friday game between Indiana and Nebraska. Season still on the line. Can the Hoosiers do it again in Minneapolis in the Big Ten tournament? Until next time, Hoosier fans, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.